Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In today's video we're going to be doing a review/preview of the game Tower Hunter Erza's Trial. I am currently beta testing the game before it's officially released, so please do remember that some things you see in this video might change upon the actual release of the game itself. The game is developed by Ice Citruna and is going to be released in the early access stage when it's officially out. So it's a game that's like a hybrid of Alien Soldier, Castlevania, Elisa Dragoon, all those type of past great games. But is it any good though? Well, let's find out, shall we? The game's story is rather difficult to explain, and that's not because it's complicated or anything like that, it's just simply because not much of it has actually been explained yet. Remember, the game will be released in early access mode, so not everything will be complete or finished upon release. Because of this, the game's story is rather unfinished, but from what I do understand, there's been this huge tower that's existed for centuries and it's always been there without any explanation or any understanding of it. It's just always been there. One day the door opens and a brand new world is discovered within the tower. Over the many years that have passed, various nobles and warriors and adventurers and what like have gone into the tower, hoping to defeat various monsters inside and gain licenses, which then gives those people status and power. Erza is our main character and the game's protagonist. She is bonded with a demon that grants her the ability of a second life. Each time that she dies, she is reborn and given a second chance at life again. Think Groundhog Day, and that's basically it. She can die a million times and still wake up the next morning in her bed all a-okay. Erza is trying to climb the tower and explore each new area in hopes of gaining the highest license possible. Now, that's what I basically understand about the game's story, as some parts of the game itself are a little hard to follow. I think she's doing this in an attempt not to have to marry someone that she doesn't want to. The start of the game gives you the impression that she is meant to be married off to someone, as her father, well, I think it's her father, is talking to her servant, and it kind of gives off the impression that if she defeats the tower and gets the highest license possible, she'll have enough power and status to then choose what she wants to do and not do what others tell her. Remember, this is a beta stage game that I am playing, so even though it looks kind of finished, it actually isn't. And even when it is officially released, it will still be in the early access stage, so everything won't be finished upon release. So please do keep that in mind, and obviously over the course of time, the developer will be adding more to the story as the game advances being made. But for the time being, that's currently all I really understand about the game's plot and story. The main focus character-wise in the game is solely on Erza and her demon companion, who takes the form of her hairpin. The two interact between each other back and forth in town, and also while you travel through the tower together. You do get the odd side character here and there, such as Erza's servant, and a man who I think is meant to be her father, but that's pretty much it. Now, if we focus on Erza and her character design, it is beautifully well created, and a lot of time and effort clearly went into her design and appearance. Considering that such a small team took a character from nothing and created this amazing looking female fighter is something to be praised. I know that I myself could never just pick up a pen, start drawing, and eventually come up with something as well designed as Erza. Now, I do believe more characters are being added into the game, but I just don't know how long that's going to take, or how well they will come across. Currently, on the Steam store page, we have a glimpse of a new character who I think might be a boss character at the end of a new stage that's possibly being made, and she appears to look like some type of succubus, but with tentacles coming out of her stomach. Hot or not? I assume that if more levels are being made, then new enemies will possibly be being made as well, and then added into the game at a later date. I'm not really sure what the developer has planned character-wise for the main game down the line, and I did try asking them this question, however I don't think that English is their native language, so there is a kind of language barrier there. And truth be told, even if they did understand my question and just decided not to answer it, I'm not too upset, because the truth is, I like surprises, and I like this game. So more surprises in this game, to me, can only be a good thing. The gameplay itself is very easy to follow. You play as Erza and travel through the tower, going through each level, and as you go through each level, you're faced with a horde of monsters. You then defeat these monsters and you're granted gems, which you can then use to power up your abilities, such as grant yourself double jump, ice dive, and various other skills. The more gems you collect, the more powerful you can become, and the more powerful you can become, the more chance you have of actually surviving. Because I'm going to be honest here, this game is hard. Especially if you haven't ever played anything like this before. It's difficult at the start because Erza is fairly weak. If you time an attack wrong, or you get trapped between two enemies, then that's it, you're dead. Each time you die, you basically lose all the items you've collected during that playthrough. And just like Groundhog Day, it starts over again, you die in the tower, you wake back up in your bed, but you pretty much lose everything that you've gained during that gameplay. I'm sure many people out there will be like myself and come from the 1980s, so will have had a Mega Drive or a SNES back in the day, and played such awesome games as Elisa Dragoon, Alien Soldier, Castlevania, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and many more. So thankfully, because of those many years of training on past games like this, I at least kind of stood half a chance when playing this game. Even so, Erza is still rather weak at the start of the game, and when I first began playing this game, it took me about an hour or two to figure out the mechanics properly. I died a lot, and it really is a case of if you do something wrong, it can be fatal. If you make one mistake, that's it, you're pretty much dead. It's a game which really does require skill and concentration, because trust me, there's nothing worse than getting halfway through a level, dying, losing all your stuff, and having to go right back from square one again. It's frustrating, but I kind of knew to expect this, because it does say in the description on the Steam store page that it's like these old style games where you die and it's back to square one. However, I know that some people out there won't like this, so if you are easily triggered by things like this, then you might want to skip this one as later levels become much harder. As the game progresses, you gain more crystals, and you gain more abilities, such as extra attacks, more blood packs, new magical weapons, which really you're going to need in order to survive this game. You can also collect several power-ups while in a dungeon, which give you the ability of extra health, more powerful attacks, and better defense. And there's quite a lot of these hidden around in the dungeons as you progress. You can collect quite a few of these and gain more abilities, and you can also find extra weapons as well while travelling in the dungeons too. Currently, you have the choice of either using your rapier, twin katanas, or a spear. Now, while this is all that's currently available in the beta version of the game, I'm pretty sure that the developer has the idea of adding extra weapons and armour down the line, be that as actually in-game content or DLC, we'll just have to wait and see. As for how does the actual gameplay feel, if you're wanting to buy this game, it kind of feels a lot like Castlevania, and a little bit like Odin Sphere, and a little bit like Ghouls and Ghosts. It's a lot like all those past great games, and as you play it, it really does bring back some of your old childhood, if you're like me, and you played these old kind of games back when you were a kid. It's great to see these kind of games come back now. The gameplay is solid, and it's really enjoyable. And I think upon release, a lot of people are really going to enjoy this game when it actually comes out, because it is a hell of a lot of fun. The game's graphics are nothing short of stunning. They really are amazing when you sit back and realise that such a small development team made a game like this. Everything comes across beautifully well rendered and runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, with all the characters and enemy animations running super smoothly. It really is extremely impressive, knowing that such a small team made a great looking game like this. All the enemies are very well created, and you get a huge amount of them in the game, ranging from different types, from insectoid looking monsters, goblins, knights, minotaurs, and loads of others, and they're all amazingly well created and designed. You don't play the game and think, this character's design is very poor or rushed, like what certain other games feel like. It's clear right from the start of this game that the developers wanted to make this game's graphics stand out, and they've done an amazing job in doing so. Yes, there are some graphical glitches in the game, and yes, you might see the odd graphical flicker here and there, possibly in this video, but as I have mentioned before, that's because I am beta testing the game, and every graphical issue I find, I'm reporting. Now, while the graphics do look amazing and everything, I did oddly find that this game pushed my graphics hard a little harder than I was expecting. I'm currently testing this on my GTX 970 downstairs, and I find that the game runs pretty smoothly. Yet I noticed that my GPU's fans came on rather a lot while playing the game. To explain a little better, my downstairs PC has 10 fans inside it, keeping it at a constant cool temperature. And usually I find if I play something such as Valkyrie Chronicles or a Neptunia game, the GPU's temperature usually stays at around 40 to 45 OC, with the fans only really switching on once 50 OC is reached, and then switching off once below that temperature. When playing this game, however, I found that my temperature of my GPU would reach 50 OC rather quickly, and the fans would come on, off, and on again, and so forth. Now, it's not a big deal because the fans only spin at around 700 RPM for a short time on my graphics card, and then switch themselves off. However, my card in that PC is a fan type model, and in my wife's PC, she has a blower type card, which works a little differently. I'm not going to go into massive detail, aside from saying that I think that blower cards are cheap and poorly designed, and that when I tested this game on my wife's gaming PC that has a GTX 760, I found the card was being pushed very hard. Now, usually this is down to the blower cards being cheap and not very well designed, as they have to work that much harder to keep the card cool. Yet, I had this happen before with another game called Anima: Gate of Memories, where when I played that game, I found that when I played it on my GTX 970, which has 2 fans on it, it ran absolutely fine and had no problems. Yet the moment I tried to play that exact same game on my wife's gaming PC, which has a GTX 760, which is a blower type card, I found that the game was being pushed quite hard, and that the GPU would get to about 60 to 70 OC quite quickly. Now, I'm not having a go at the game, it actually turned out that the game's engine causes this, and I'm not sure if that is the same case with this game as well. I can't confirm if this will be the same for all blower type cards, as I only have one to test this out on, but I'm just giving fair warning. And the truth is, the game runs perfectly fine on all of my graphics cards that I've tested the game on, as you can see from the video in this footage, which has been taken from my GTX 970, my GTX 670, and my wife's gaming PC, which has a GTX 760. All the computers ran the game perfectly fine, and as you can see with the game's graphics, they just simply look amazing, and I really can't credit them enough. The team really went out of their way to make a brilliant looking game, and appearance wise, the game really stands out among the crowd, and it's just a thing of pure beauty. What can I say about the game's environments, aside from that the stages are utterly brilliant and really well created. It's clear right from the very first level that a lot of time and effort has gone into producing this world in which you're exploring. The stages are a design of 3D animated levels placed over a 2D style platform, and they all just look really impressive with how well they've been designed and created. Each level is huge, and you get various routes that you can take to reach the end goal. As you travel through each stage, you also have hidden areas, which may contain special power-ups or weapons, which realistically you're going to need in order to defeat the end level boss. Each stage is also full of enemies and deadly traps, which can cost your life if you make one wrong move. You have to deal with several enemies on screen at once who can come at you with swords, arrows, axes, and hoovers, oddly. Yes, you heard me right, hoovers. Anyway, aside from those dangers, the stages also have traps such as pits filled with spikes, ramps filled with spikes, spinning buzzsaw blades, and exploding things which fire out spikes which can then blind you. Each stage is really beautifully well created, and a lot of love has gone into making them, even on such small details which you really wouldn't ever even notice, such as how your light reflects from off the rocks when you're in the cave section. I also have to credit the music in this game for each stage too, as it really fits the feel of each individual stage itself, and really feels like that background music belongs there, in that level. The music works perfectly for each stage, and really gets you pumped up while playing. It really is a credit to whoever made the game's music, because as I've said before, this is a small team, but it really is amazing what happens when you get a good group of people together and they can create something as great as this game. I'm really looking forward to what the other stages will look like once complete and added into the game when it is finally finished. I'm hoping that personally we'll get more lava levels or underwater levels or something along those lines. The point is, the game's current stages look impressive and only leaves me wanting more, so I'm really looking forward to what the future brings for this game. If you're sat there right now wondering about buying the game and if it's any good or not, the short answer is yes. It is worth it, and yes, it is pretty damn good. I really did enjoy this game, and it is a fantastic experience, which reminds me of the good old classic games I used to play when I was younger, such as Castlevania, Alien Soldier, and various others. It's an amazing job that a small group of people got together to make this game, and the game itself, while even in the early access stages, just looks so damn incredible. It looks and feels professionally made, as if it were done by some big company with big plans in mind for the future. But then when you realise it's a small development team doing this, you really realise just how impressive that actually is. Everything just looks and feels as if it's had a lot of time and effort poured into it from day one of its design. And sadly, that can't be said about a lot of other games produced by smaller indie companies. I haven't played a game like this in a very long time, and it's a breath of fresh air among all the other styles of games which are produced these days and just endlessly pumped out. It's something which feels professionally made, and given time and effort could be something really great, and I really would recommend this to anyone who grew up playing these type of games in the past. I haven't enjoyed a game this much since Odin Sphere, which, while frustrating, I really enjoyed, and I do kind of get that same feeling with this game. I feel that given more time, effort and love, it could turn out to be absolutely brilliant. If you are thinking of buying this game, then it's definitely worth the purchase. It's not complete by any means, and it's still in the early access stage, but even so, it's a great game as it currently is, with loads of things that you can get out of it and enjoy. For the price it's going to be upon release, and when it will get updated, you can't really go wrong. Yes, there may be a few issues here and there, but as I've said before, these should hopefully get ironed out over time. Is it a tad risky releasing the game in the early access stage? Possibly. I'm not exactly sure how many other people are testing the game, so please do be aware that you may buy the game and possibly run into a few hiccups here and there. And if you do, then please report it to the development team so that they can fix any errors that you may come across while playing the game. It's an enjoyable game, with lots of replay value and lots of fun to be had, and at the price tag that the game is going to be released at, you can't really complain, especially knowing that the game's only going to get more added to it over time. It's a fantastic experience, and I really enjoyed the game, and I hope that many of you do as well. It's a good game, and I really do recommend it. Well, that's it for this review guys. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.